Welcome into another edition of the H&H Podcast. I'm alongside Henry Lake. I'm Ahmad, Hicks, and we'll, of course, get to those Minnesota Vikings and those Minnesota Gophers, but
do we have to?
We have to. It's a Minnesota sports podcast where we also talk about a lot of other things, and there are some other big things that we need to address in the sporting world. We're going to start at the college football level. Lane Kiffin decides to leave his old girl in Ole Miss and go to his new thing at LSU. More appealing job, better resources, bigger bag, better recruits, and a lot of people feel some type of way about this.
Bigger isn't always better. Bigger isn't always better. And we know that. I mean, we just know that from looking at other sports, leagues, teams, free agents. But I'm not going to look at him taking this job and feeling like it's a bad decision because LSU is one of the top 5 programs in the country. So I'm not knocking him for that.
Then where's your gripe?
My gripe is, and it's more so with the calendar than it is with Lane Kiffin.
Valid.
But even with that calendar being screwed up with the NCAA, how do you just jump ship on a team that's going to the college football playoff? That I have a problem with. Lane Kiffin, to me, and we all have flaws, right? We all have sins. We all have flaws. Lane Kiffin seems to be that guy, that it's all about him, that he truly, deep down, doesn't truly care about his players. It's about getting on to the next bag. And I'm just calling it like I see it. I'm not sitting here and saying that he's the worst human being on planet Earth. Not saying that. But how in the world do you jump from a team that potentially could win the entire thing to take a new job right now?
That's tough.
With that, there's some allegations that he said to coaches, if you don't get on the plane with me, you're not getting a job with me.
Well, he did come out and said that was a false narrative.
But there's many things that he's been called out on that allegedly have been lies that he spewed the last couple of days. And quite frankly, and even you know this, Lane Kiffin's not to be trusted. You know that.
I can't sit here and argue about that.
And now he got the undergrads on campus. The ladies are showing the DMs he's been sending. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, do you think those are true? I've been seeing those. Those are wild.
I don't know, but
that's a lot of wild stuff.
It's Lane Kiffin, though. Because, like, Lane Kiffin, he's about that life.
He is.
Tennessee.
From what we see, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so I'm not saying it's true.
I'll say this. I feel for the players at Ole Miss. Like you said, legendary season, 11-1. Going to the college football playoff, one of the best offenses in the game. And you have to believe that if they have Lane Kiffin, if they have their offensive coordinator, if they have their complete staff, they got a chance to run the table and bring home their first national championship to Ole Miss. That being said, like you said, the calendar's messed up. Like, you know very well, if he stays at Ole Miss and he gets them to the college football national championship, and he plays for the national championship, that's the first week of July. Signing day is one tomorrow, and then you got another one February 1st. So if you coach Ole Miss through the first week of January, the chances of you having a successful LSU program is going down the drain pretty much. Like, you are closing that window on how you can go recruit and assemble your roster. And so Lane Kiffin was left with no choice. Now, there were reports out there that he did want to go stay on the job. They were want to do this. And Ole Miss, like, look, you not about to stay with us and try and take us here while you also going to another program in our conference and go try and recruit against us. It's not happening.
I feel that.
I do, too. Because it's
like
my mom and, like, people used to tell us all the time, you can't have your cake and eat it too. So I understand that. But that being said, I don't think he was left with many choices.
But that's the other part about this that I don't like is that when he talks to the media and he comes out and he's talking about, they told me that I couldn't do both and all. Dude, you're not the victim. Like, that's the decision you made.
Right.
Ole Miss is in the right for holding their ground and saying, nah, it don't roll like that. If you get on that plane and that's what you want to do, that's what you want to do.
I agree. I agree to a certain extent.
So he got to stop with all the victim stuff, man.
But in some ways, he is a victim. The college football calendar does not make it easy on coaches. But I can't sit here and have a ton of empathy for them because, like, look, players can leave when they want. Coaches leave all the time when they want. That's just the climate of the NCAA
He's
now.
no victim in any of this because what was the worst thing that was going to happen to him? That he keep his job and go play in the college football playoff and get a massive raise. That's the worst thing that could happen.
Yeah. It's tough. The NIL landscape, the college landscape right now, you feel for players, you feel for coaches. There's a lot of, like, coaches just getting fired mid-season, things like that, like families being uprooted. Like, that life is hard, man. And I know a lot of people can judge from the outside looking in. I'm not at all, making an excuse for Lane Kiffin, but you feel for the players at Ole Miss, man, because they had a chance to do something special. And now they're probably going to get slighted in the college football playoff rankings that get released tonight. Probably don't get a home game. Then you get Pete Golding, a defensive coordinator, without his OC and stuff like that, and it's really the head coach to go run this ship. Probably not go as far as you would have went, and then you probably go lose 20 to 30% of your roster to the portal in LSU.
Coach Kiffin, in the words of a scholar by the name of Kendrick Lamar, ain't no sympathy here.
You and
Sorry.
Kendrick Lamar. Well, since we're talking about LSU, let's talk about one of their greats, Odell Beckham Jr. He sent some headwaves through social media recently with his comments.
Yeah, he got on your last nerve.
Look, we talk about this all the time. Growing up in the black community, financial literacy is not really taught to us. Let's just keep it a buck. Like, it's not. Like, growing up, we're taught when you get money, you go get the things you want. Like, that's what we're always told. Like, when you get enough money, then you can go buy what you want. That's what moms used to always tell us growing up, and dads too. And I feel like athletes, we see far too many stories about athletes, black athletes, getting the bag. Next thing you know is Rolls Royces, it's $10,000 jeans, it's diamonds here, it's diamonds there. It's like, and then you hear stories of white athletes, and you ask them, like, I've asked this question a lot. I got it from our sports mentor in St. Louis, Frank Cusimano. Shout out to you. He used to always ask athletes when they went to the pros, the first question he was asking, what's the first big thing you bought with your new contract? And so many times you would hear the white athlete say, I got myself a car, then I put the rest in savings, or I invested the rest. I bought this, then I invested the rest. And you ask certain black athletes, I got this. And then you see them wear designer every week. And we ain't talking about just like a $200-$300 shirt. We talking about a $10,000 jacket, $5,000 jeans, like a $1,000 T-shirt. And then Odell came out here basically and said that 5 years, $100 million is not generational money, because after taxes it's really $60 million for 5 years. Then you go out and spend $4 million a year, so then you're really left for $8 million a year for 5 years. And he was like, that's not a ton of money. And the first thing that came to my mind, and he went on to say this on the pivot, I went back and watched it last night. He was like, I wasn't taught financial literacy and all this stuff. And I'm like, that's your problem right there. Yeah. Like, you should have used some of that money to go find you somebody that can help invest that money to where you can make $2 to $3 million a year off your investment. But it's like, you hang out with Drake, but you don't need to live like Drake. You don't have money like Drake. So why are you spending like Drake?
Well, I think that, so this is the problem that I have, and you're 100% right on everything that you just stated. It doesn't take a genius, though, to understand the value of a dollar, though. Like. Take all of the financial literacy aside and having an advisor and all this other stuff, whatever. Like, take all that out. If you grow up and you are in college and you know about the $100 handshakes at LSU and all this stuff, you know that once you get your first bag, any person of any intellect knows I can't run and spend a lot of my money. Mm-hmm. You just have to know that. So, but part of it is, and you're right, though, like, especially in the African-American community, we just don't preach it as much. But I think it's symptomatic of just the lifestyle here in America. Mm-hmm. In America, because we're such a capitalist society, we live above our means. That's just what we do.
Facts.
We buy stuff that we don't necessarily, and I'll put myself in that camp, too.
Me, too.
I got a couple of winter jackets that I ain't even broke out yet. And they ain't cheap. Like, the jacket I got today, I got a pair of jumpers that and I get everything on sale. Okay, so take that. I'm a clearance guy. I'm a sales rack guy. So I never buy anything full price. But my point is that even an individual like myself that's very, 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 frugal with spending.
Me too.
I look at Odell Beckham Jr. and when he makes a comment like that about having $50 million or whatever and acting as though that's not generational wealth for a family, like, what are you doing, bro?
That's
crazy.
The thing that rubbed me the wrong way is like, you literally see people surviving off a tenth of that. Like, like literally like
a tenth. Man, less than that.
You're right. There's people living off 60, 70 grand a year, and they living within their means, and they have a great life.
But this is, to me, Odell Beckham Jr., though, is just, it's so beyond any thought, any rational thought of what he said. And this is why I say this. I'm going to give you two names of a couple of athletes that other athletes can get behind. Those two names, Marshawn Lynch and Gronk.
Yeah.
Because they are two individuals. Because Marshawn did it before Gronk because he's older. Said, I'm not touching my contract money. I am going to live off of endorsement money. The same way that Jason Tatum.
I was about to say Jason Tatum does
the same thing. So,
and his mom's a lawyer. She made sure he was.
And he's
right.
on a budget.
Right.
He's on a budget. For Odell Beckham Jr. to come out with that take really shows how ridiculous he is. Let's just be honest.
Facts. I think a lot of athletes are in that boat. And I think I did a podcast with John New Smith on my own one. And we kind of talked about, he was like, look, I'm over. He was like, going out and spending the $1,500 on T-shirts and stuff like that. He's like, that stuff add up. He was like, no, don't get me wrong. I still got my drip. I still got my designer stuff. But it's not always about wearing the most designer. Because even in the Pivot interview that Odell did, had on some Chrome Heart jeans. Those jeans are like 5 racks plus. And you sitting here talking about generational money and this money not lasting long enough. It's like, why are you dressing like that? It's like, I feel like in our society, we feel like, yeah, and I'm sure you heard this before, Black people always have to look rich rather than be rich. And it's not that case with everybody, so I don't want to go out here and make it seem like every Black person is like that.
Yeah.
But it is like the notion in our community is like, you see people in my community that I grew up with probably don't make a ton of money at all, but when they step out in the club, I had a friend of mine whose name I won't name. We're not friends anymore. And he didn't have no money. Like, he didn't even have a job. He was a hustler. And he literally came out, though. He had Balenciagas on, Gucci this, Louis this, and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, yeah, when I go back to our reunion, I'm going to have it on. Like, they go look at me and know I'm getting to it. But I'm like, but
stunting
really
is
not.
a disease.
Yeah.
Stunting is a disease. And everybody has it.
For sure.
But it just looks different when you're a person of color. It just looks different.
Yeah.
Because of the swagger that we have, because culturally, we've got hip hop and all this other stuff, whatever. It's not like other races don't do it too.
They do.
But it just looks different there.
Yeah.
Like, for instance, and I'm not going to bring up the specifics of who I'm talking about, but a very wealthy friend of mine who passed away about 5 years ago. If you came across him, you would not know that he has money at all. Like, he dressed like...
Yeah, people like that, too.
I mean, seriously, like, you would see him and be like, man, he's got Holy jeans. He got those boots. Those aren't even Tim's. Like, what's going on? More money than you could ever imagine. The only thing that will be a tell will be the Range Rover he drives, but that's it.
It's funny you say that because I had a guy I went to high school with, and his family was in the music business, and so he was pretty wealthy. And I look on his Facebook nowadays, living in a mansion, wife, kids, luxurious vacations, all this stuff. And I'll never forget when I was a young, immature kid, we're in class one day, and I heard he had money, but he was the same dude that would come to school, had the same 5 to 6 outfits.
Yep.
Jeans, little T-shirt, beat-up shoes, and I'm the guy that got new Nikes on, new Jordans every week, all this stuff. And I said, if you got all this money, I said, why you dress like that? Why you look like that? He was like, and he said, do I have to dress a certain type of way because I have money? So when he kind of said that, it humbled me real fast. And I'm like, you kind of make a point.
Yeah,
so now
yeah.
that I get older, get a
You're
little
like,
bit
I
more
get it.
money, like, it's like you see friends that first thing they do is they get money. I want to go get this. I want to go get that. It's like, are you trying to keep up with society, or are you trying to make sure you got money for the rest of your life in case something go wrong?
And let me say this too, real quick, just for the record. I don't have a whole lot of sympathy for athletes that go broke.
Me neither.
I really don't, because on top of athletes getting the salaries that they get, a lot of athletes, like in Odell Beckham Jr., they have endorsements where they get stuff for free. We go to different restaurants and clubs and stuff like that, whatever. I'm not saying every meal is free, but they get a lot of freebies there, and they ain't waiting in line. And on top of that, like, for instance, in the NBA, they get a per diem.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to just get the per diem. Forget about just the salary. Give me the per diem.
Rich people get the most free stuff.
So, thank you.
Especially athletes, because it's walking advertisements for them.
Yep.
So I just think that, and on the St. Brown podcast, I think the older brother of Amon-Ra, Osiris, I believe is his name, he's a financial advisor now for Amon-Ra. And he said, Amon-Ra asked him, what's the biggest reason for athletes going broke? What do you see the most? And he said, spending beyond their means. And he said spending more than what their budget allocates. He said they have expensive spending habits that they start out when they're younger getting a lot of money, and then it's hard to walk that lifestyle back once you start getting it. And I think as people who don't have a lot of money, who don't make millions of dollars a year, it's easy for us to be like, look, if I got this money, you just put this up and I'm going to be good.
So I said this on the radio show about a month ago. I was talking to my listening audience about, are you going to, because the economy is real shaky and people getting laid off here and there or whatever, and grocery prices and everything's up, right? Everything is going through the roof. I said to the listening audience, I said, how are you guys going to navigate the holiday season? Like, are you going to spend a lot less? Because I'm going to spend a lot less, right?
Mm-hmm.
In the last week, we had Black Friday. I didn't spend a dime. We just had Cyber Monday yesterday. I didn't spend a dime. My point is that I think for us to kind of make sure that we hold ourselves accountable, you just got to make those tough choices.
Now
so
you do.
I didn't spend anything. If anything, you know what I did? I put more money into trading for stocks.
Smart.
Last week.
Smart.
You know, and I sat down with my uncle and talked about the different accounts and stuff that I have. You know what I'm saying? I got accounts, you know, with this, you know, we talked about all the different ones, you know, Charles Schwab and Vanguard and Fidelity and all these different. So that's what I'm on right now.
Me too. I think it's levels to it. And one guy who we didn't mention it, who's a hometown guy right now, Anthony Edwards. The one thing that I love about Anthony Edwards, he probably makes the most money of any professional athlete in this town between his endorsement with Adidas, with Sprite, and then his NBA contract. So I'm not in his pockets, but you got to believe he's probably pulling in over $60-70 million a year,
for sure, yeah.
like in money. And this guy shows up to games in Adidas sweatsuits and sweatpants and just Adidas slides, his own shoes.
Sometimes he'll just rock a white tee.
Or Prada. He's sponsored by Prada. They give him a pregame fit. I'm like, that's how you keep your money.
Yep.
Like, that's how you keep your money. So shout out to Ant and what he's doing. All right. Odell, appreciate you giving us that topic and a chance to kind of vent and talk to our people about this.
Which actually should lead into the Vikings right now, because they did make some news here yesterday with releasing Adam Thielen, a wide receiver. Me and you talked about this back when it all was going down. We didn't think that this was a significant, you know, it wasn't a signing. They traded for him. I'm an Adam Thielen fan. Shout out to Adam Thielen, phenomenal Minnesota Viking football player, phenomenal human being. He gives so much to the community. So I'm always going to have his back there. But in terms of just on the field, I never truly thought that this was going to be a situation where he was going to be able to have a massive impact.
Me neither. Kevin O'Connell tried to walk it down a little bit yesterday, and he spoke like, well, at the beginning of the season, we didn't have Justin Jefferson for a majority of training camp. Fact. We weren't going to have Jordan Addison for the first 3 games. Fact. Jalen Naylor suffered a hand injury during training camp. Didn't know if he was going to be healthy for the season. Another fact. But my problem with that is, why don't you trust the young guys that you draft and bring in?
Yeah.
You spent the 3rd round pick on Ty Felton. He said you brought in Miles Price, and his excuse was, well, we knew those guys were going to be heavily involved in the kicking game. All right, cool. But it's like, why give up a 4th-round draft pick in next year's draft for a guy that you know who is only going to have an impact for 3 weeks? Like, you look at the snap counts, Justin Jefferson, like 470, 480. Jordan Addison, like 450. Jalen Naylor, like 370. Adam Thielen, like 170. So it's like, what is he even here for? So it's like you talk about a team and a general manager that doesn't draft well, then you're giving up draft picks. Now, albeit this year they do have 8 draft picks within the first 5 rounds. They have a couple of 1, 2, and a couple of 3s and a couple of 5s, I believe, via compensation and stuff like that for guys leaving and whatnot. But it's still like, for a team that needs all the draft capital that they need right now, like, they have to have it. And you're just giving away draft picks to bring back a player who's just beloved in the eyes of Minnesotans, but yet is way past his prime. Like, I think it's just another example of, like, this front office, like, not putting their best foot forward to help this team.
I think that Kwesi's clearly on the hot seat.
He should be.
And he should be. Like.
Or the people that scout. Or the coaches that develop.
I can't. We're in a bad spot right now. And salary cap wise,
horrible.
What, $36 million? I think is the number.
4 that were over.
Yeah, I just, like, right now he has to speak to that. And let me be clear about this. Although I have looked at Kevin O'Connell as a coach, and we talked about him questioning or me questioning him being the quarterback whisperer, the bottom line is this. He's got a lot more in terms of goodwill with this organization than Kwesi, in my opinion, at least. Mm-hmm. In my opinion, because I think he's done a heck of a job as a head coach.
Yeah, I do too. I don't agree with the slander that's out there that's saying that Kevin O'Connell should be fired.
No.
Totally disagree.
Absolutely not.
Went back and forth
That's
with some
crazy.
people on social media like, this is
That's crazy.
Coach of the Year a year ago. Led this team to 14 wins. Did what he did with all those quarterbacks a season prior and almost had a chance to go to the playoffs. But somebody swung and missed. Somebody swung and missed on JJ. And I'm not saying he's a bust yet because I'm a firm believer. And I still think somebody resurfaced a clip that it was right after JJ's first preseason game. Because I remember during training camp, like, him and Sam Darnold were going toe-to-toe. Like, they both were doing well during training camp. And Kevin O'Connell came out after the J.J. McCarthy news was announced that he was going to be, going on IR and having surgery and whatnot. And he said, people here should be proud that we have our franchise young quarterback and that, we have someone to build around. So, like, there is confidence and belief in 9. He just needs to find it in himself right now.
Yeah.
But I think it's also hard to find success when you aren't paying attention, when people aren't paying as much attention to the guys up front. Yep. We talk about it every week. Invested a lot of money there, draft pick there, Darisaw, O'Neal, and those guys have not played good this year. So I don't think it matters who plays quarterback. And I had to tell Jim Rich this the other day. He was a strong advocate to bring Sam Darnold back. I said, well, look how Sam Darnold performed in front of the Vikings defensive line. Did he do anything spectacular? Did he throw for a touchdown?
His last 3 weeks hasn't been that great.
So that's what I'm saying. So I'm like, if you still don't have an offensive line and you're going against elite defensive lines, that's the Sam Darnold you get. And pretty average Sam Darnold.
Gopher fans. Oh, your guy didn't get it done on Sunday. Your guy didn't get it done on. Didn't I say this last week?
I think we both did.
I think we both said that if the reason why fans were so in their feelings about Max was because he's a Gopher.
Yeah.
If he did not play at the University of Minnesota, people would not have the same feeling.
Look,
I'm sorry.
I'm not gonna sit here.
Facts.
Like, I'm not bashing the young quarterback. I said this, like, you can't judge J.J. McCarthy after 6 games. You certainly can't judge Max Rosemer after 1.
And actually, I thought his processing was much better.
It was, but it was too fast.
Yeah, it was too fast.
It's too sped up. So it's like you say J.J. McCarthy's is too slow, or Max's is too fast.
And
that was the knock on him during training camp. And he said that, like, Wes Phillips said that they had to slow it down. But my thing was, dog, everybody from the U or that watched the U or that worked at the U or covered the U were just making Brosmer out to be like the second coming of Jesus at quarterback. And I'm just like, I literally said on the Game Day Live podcast, and I mean not Game Day Live podcast, but our Vikings Game Day Live show, I said, I really hope he's half as good as what everybody's making him out to be on social media. I said, because there's so much weight on his shoulders right now to go out here because everyone keeps talking about his processing skills, his quick release, how he's better than McCarthy, and fans out there, well, McCarthy sucks. We might as well see what we have in Brosmer. Be careful what you ask for.
Man, dude, what? Hold on. Should we check in with Ron Johnson?
Let's call. Look, I called him out on social media. He's like, he's like, what was I?
Ron's my guy. That's
What,
my dude. That's
he was
my
like,
dude.
what was I supposed to
That's
say?
our dude.
It is my guy.
Yeah.
But I had to. I was like, look.
Calm that down.
I was like, y'all keep talking about this man. I said, he won 7 games at Minnesota. Didn't get drafted. Like, if he was so good, they win more than 7 at Minnesota, and he gets drafted. So that's what I'm like. And then I had a slight debate with Pierre Nugent, my guy upstairs, and Jim Rich while we're watching the game. Yeah. And they're like, look at you being so critical of Brosmer. I said, I'm not being critical of Brosmer. I'm being critical of everyone that said Brosmer was better than McCarthy. Yeah. I said, and look what you're getting. I said, J.J. McCarthy's first NFL start, and he had 2 touchdowns, 1 rushing touchdown, and an interception. Brosmer had 4 picks.
And that's not, and that's not a slight at Ron. Seriously, real talk. That's
our guy. That's our guy.
That's the homie. Like, he knows ball.
Yeah.
He played in the league.
Yeah,
for sure. You know what I'm saying? Was a star at the U. But it's just, but I say that just because I think a lot of us, because we love the Gophers, can get a little bit emotional, and sometimes you're too close to it.
Yeah.
And so, but yeah, I'm not looking at Max at all and feeling like, yeah, he's like a trash quarterback or he's not a prospect anymore, whatever. All I'm saying is, like you said, that if you look at what JJ has been dealing with, and you put Max behind that, it ain't going to look that much better. That's
what I was trying to tell people. And then people were like, well, Max was putting the ball there. People were dropping the ball. Hello? We not watching what was happening with J.J. McCarthy some games? Like, he did struggle. And then some games he was putting the ball where it needed to be, and guys were dropping it.
And Jordan Addison, you got to get it together, bro.
Got to catch the ball.
Like, seriously, he's been dropping way too many passes here lately.
I agree.
Jordan Addison is not somebody that right now I have confidence in to give him a bag.
I don't think they give him a bag either. I think they make him go out there and prove it next year. Yep. And I think I said that at the beginning of this year, that next year was going to be the year that he had to go prove it. So
no, I'm not even talking about giving him a bag after this year. I'm talking about just giving him a bag to keep him here long term.
It's going to be hard to give him a bag if you got to spend some money up front on that offensive line. Yep. And then they got to figure out that offensive line. I don't know if it's coaching. I don't know if it's you could say it's the players, but Ed Ingram was regarded as one of the worst guards in the NFL when he was here with the Vikings. Now he's one of the best guards in the NFL with the Houston Texans.
Bro, I saw a video of Ed Ingram from this past weekend.
Decleating somebody.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
I'm like,
and
what?
He's ranked as one of the best guards, according to PFF. So if Ed can leave here and have success, then the question is, why wasn't he having that success here? Is it the scheme or is it the coaching? Yeah. That has to be determined. All right, last topic that we have here. Our favorite, the Gophers. They got a win versus Wisconsin.
Your favorite.
I got
my favorite's the Wolves.
Yeah, it is. I gave Ron Johnson some flack on our Game Day Live show because he has this oar that he brings in every time they beat a 4-win team, a 5-win team, and he celebrates every game like it's the Rose Bowl. And he brought in this oar paddling, and he's like, "Yeah, my Wisconsin people." But I said, "How many games did Wisconsin win?" He's like, 4, but who cares? Like, it's a win. And I had some people blasting me on social media. Like, you just bag on Minnesota. And I said, y'all just love mediocrity. I said, I'm not sitting here bashing P.J. Fleck and the culture he's established. I said, but at one point, is 7 wins not enough for you guys? And that's their record again this year, 7-5. In the 9 years P.J. Fleck has been here, he averages 7 wins.
Let's just be clear. We're not moving forward. We haven't had progress. We are stuck in the middle. It is on PJ next year to take a step forward. I don't care what anybody says. He has to take the step forward next year.
I think they have the quarterback to do so in Drake Lindsey. And I think they need to build around him, and they need to capitalize off these next 2 years. I think if they can remain consistent with the offensive line, go get you a game-changing wide receiver, game-changing back. This is no knock to Darius Taylor. He's good, but I think if you want to be successful, you need somebody. You need a Swiss Army knife that can do everything.
PJ has to prove it, though, that he can move the program forward because you've got a quarterback. I mean, nobody even talks about KP anymore. Coy is like it. He's unbelievably talented. Nobody even talks about him anymore.
He's had a rough year.
Like seriously, like nationally. Going into the season, people were like, this guy's pretty talented in Minnesota.
They were comparing him to Travis Hunter. That was a reach.
Yeah, really.
Reach, but they need to do better. I think next year is going to be a very telling year for this program.
You see Pat Fitzgerald got hired by
Michigan State.
Yeah.
And like I said, I think everybody in the Big Ten is improving. I think Northwestern will still be a better team next year and whatnot. They got a new facility coming up and whatnot. Purdue will be a better team. Like, Illinois has improved, since Brett Bielema has been there. Like, everybody's improving in the Big Ten, and Minnesota staying stagnant. So I think next year is going to be a very big year for PJ. I think that's year 10 for him. Got to move that needle forward. Can't do the same thing. All right, lastly, Wolves got a big win. Ant went crazy versus the Spurs the other night.
Crazy, yep.
MVP type campaign. I was looking back at some old podcasts, us talking about them, and how we were saying like we needed to put stock in this being an MVP type season. Now, granted, the guys around him haven't been as consistent, but Ant's leading the charge, and you like to see that from the guy, your big money maker on the team.
Everybody knows this. I'm the biggest Anthony Edwards fan out there. I wanted Anthony Edwards here before he was even here. When he was at Georgia, I was the main person because I'm the person that loves college basketball the most here, in this market. I was like, that's the dude. I don't want to hear about nothing else. We get the number 1 pick. I want Anthony Edwards.
I was hoping y'all took James Wiseman because I was a Warriors fan.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
I wanted Ant on the Warriors.
No, Ant. But with all that being said, as much as I love Ant, because with the Wolves, my 1 and 2 is Anthony Edwards and then Jaden McDaniels. There's 2 MVP candidates right now in the league. 2. It's the Joker and it's Shea. That's it, man. And right now, I think OKC is 18-1.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a wrap. It's a wrap.
The Wolves nearly had them the other day.
I don't care. I love the Wolves. I'm a season ticket holder. 18-1 is.
They're dangerous, and they're doing that without Jalen. They're doing that without Jalen right now.
He just came back.
I know. And I saw something
Are they gonna break the record by the Golden State Warriors in the Bulls?
They got a chance. And I saw something the other day. Sam Presti's their general manager, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I saw something the other day that said that with Jalen Williams missing all the games that he's missed this year, he's not eligible for an All-NBA team. That in response keeps them lower than that second apron above the tax level, and it saves them $43 million because he doesn't get a max contract because he can't be eligible for an All-NBA team. So now they're just going to get better. Now they got more money. And I'm just like, the Thunder are a beast right now. It's going to be tough, but I think if anybody can dethrone them, it's Ant. But it's kind of like we said at one of our first podcasts, he's going to have to be Mr. Do-It-All for this team. Offensively, defensively, we know he's in shape this season. Hate that he had that hamstring injury, probably took away from some of that conditioning. But he's going to have to do everything for this season, and then Jaden McDaniels is going to have to turn it up a notch. My guy, Rudy Gobert, that I keep talking about, that's going to have a big year offensively. He's going to have to provide something. And like we keep saying every week, we keep beating a dead horse, but they're going to have to find a point guard if they want to make a long run in the NBA Finals, which I think is definitely doable in the Western Conference.
Yeah. I know we're going to wrap this up, but I did want to just take a moment and just send my condolences to Harvey Rucker and the Rucker family. An amazing Southside family. Harvey lost his wife, Sharon, late last night. So this is fresh. But he's an esteemed educator, known him my entire life. He's known me since I was a little kid. He's a Kappa man or whatever. But to the Rucker family, my condolences.
Yeah, and we appreciate you guys for joining us, and we'll see you all next week.